Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, by the end of this video, I hope you can walk away understanding what modes are, understand where they are on the fretboard and how to build the scales, and most importantly, understand that they're not so otherworldly and they're not so scary as they may seem, alright? With that all being said, let's get into it. So what is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name is Ray. I'm a guitar player here on YouTube, and this video is going to be really helpful for you if you've been struggling to understand what modes are. So for those of you who've been taking lessons with me, this will be review. We go much more in depth on our one-on-one conversations, but for right now for this video, this will be broad strokes about modes and a nice introduction and a nice debriefing to make you understand that, hey, they're not that scary, they're not that, extraterrestrial, and, they're not anything other than just a few simple things and a few simple concepts, okay? So now, I'm not going to waste any time, let's jump on into it. Before we get into modes, in my honest, humble opinion, you have to know two things. One, you have to have your fretboard not necessarily memorized, but you have to be very familiar with the notes are. Because if you don't know where the notes are, you won't know where the modes are, okay? That's just going to be guessing, and this video will be all for naught, okay? So just take, 5 minutes a day, just knocking out, just understanding where the notes are, a little bit of memorization. Doesn't take that much time, it's not that hard, okay? And the next thing you got to understand is how to build a major scale. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, and then you're back to your octave, okay? So now, let's dive into modes. Once you have those two concepts down, you should be good to go. So for this lesson, for this video, we're going to be teaching everything in C major. C major is the easiest key to understand. No sharps, no flats, all natural notes, all whole notes, whatever you want to call them. There's a couple different words to describe that. It's just C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C, okay? So now, C major looks like this on my guitar. And that's one octave, okay? For this lesson, for the modes, we're going to be talking in one octave. And yes, C major goes, all over the fretboard. But for right now, it's just we're doing one octave, just to understand the concept, okay? So now, ready to have your mind blown? So there's 7 different modes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, okay? Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. 7. So if you can count to 7, you can understand modes. So now, the first one, Ionian. That is just a fancy name for major. The major scale is the first mode. So if you play a major scale, guess what? You're playing an Ionian. You're playing an Ionian scale. So here's C Ionian, aka C major. So now we have to talk about the rest of the modes. Well, what are modes in general? Well, modes are just scales, man. They're just scales. And more specifically, most importantly, they're an altered scale. And what are we altering? The major scale. So Ionian is the only one we're not really quote unquote altering, because it's just the name and the function is in and of itself. Ionian's major. That's just rule of thumb, that's just fact, okay? So now, what's the next mode in our order? We have Ionian, Dorian. Okay, now, this is where it starts to, blow your mind. So the second note in C major is D, right? Well, what's the second mode? Dorian. So, put 2 and 2 together. To play a Dorian scale in C major, you would play D Dorian. All right, so now I'm going to show you what D Dorian is, and then I'm going to show you just how it all fits together. It's going to blow your mind. And then we'll pick up speed and we'll show, we'll put it all together. I'll show you how it all just fits in one big long scale. It's really, really cool. So now, D Dorian. D Dorian looks like this. So how does that fit in C major? I thought we're starting on D. I thought, this is some D key. I thought it's D Dorian. Well, it is, but check this out. The notes of C major, the C Ionian scale, are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Well, the notes of D Dorian are D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and D. So you'll notice a pattern there. All of the notes in D Dorian are the exact same set of notes as C major. Exact same notes. So the key takeaway, no pun intended, is when somebody says, somebody walks up to you and be like, oh, well, my song is in D Dorian, sounding rather I don't know, bombastic and a little, there's, I don't want to use any more words than that. Just a little, musically inclined, let's just say. Dude, all their song really is it's in C major. But they're emphasizing the D Dorian scale and the D Dorian notes, meaning D is really kind of their grounding point of their song, their focus of their song. So let's keep going, all right? This is going to continue to blow your mind. So what's the next note in C major? E, C, D, E. What's the third mode in music? Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian. So we have to play the E Phrygian scale to be in C major still. So here's E, and here's E Phrygian. And those notes are E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and E. What do those notes have in common with C major? It's the exact same set of notes, but we're just starting on E. We're just starting in the middle of C major. Same goes with Dorian. Let's continue. Let's pick up the pace here. Let's pick up steam. Next, fourth mode, Lydian. Fourth note in C major, F, F, Lydian. Fifth mode, Mixolydian. Fifth note, G, in C major, G. Sixth, A. Sixth mode, Aeolian. That's your minor scale. That's your regular plain old minor scale. So Aeolian is minor. Ionian is major. Aeolian is minor. Pretty cool, right? Kind of like, wow, I didn't even know that. So anytime somebody says, hey, my song's an A Aeolian or B Aeolian, it's just minor. Just plain old minor. That's all it is. And lastly, Locrian. Seventh mode, seventh note. B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. What do those notes have in common with C major? They're the exact same set of notes. They're the exact same set of notes, man. So now, the key takeaway is you have to be able to drag and drop all this information and put it on your fretboard. And just, like, once you do that, it makes all the crazy sense in the world. So I labeled all those scales, right? So if somebody says to you, hey, my song's in C major, you can play for all those scales that I just played, for it to sound 100% correct, 1000% of the time. If like you're soloing or you're improvising, you can play C Ionian, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, and B Locrian. So somebody walks up to me and says, hey Ray, my song's in C Ionian or C major. I need you to write a solo. 5, 6, 7, 8. I can go like this. And all of those notes fit in C major. But although that wasn't so musical, that was just running scales. It sounded like I was playing scales. What you have to be able to do with practice is be able to connect those scales. And now I'm putting myself on the spot here, but let's see if I can just come up with a little improvisation just on the one octave on all those scales. Just connecting them, going back and forth in the key of C major. Just nothing crazy, just showcasing the idea. So. And so what I did right there was nothing crazy, right? It was just, just a little improvised kind of riff lead thing, if you will. But anyway, the key takeaway is I visually see all of the shapes, right? All the shapes on the guitar, all the modal shapes, and I'm just bouncing back and forth. Now, I'm playing on the lower register because it's all in one octave. But like I said, these shapes extend infinitely, technically. And, you can use the upper register for solos and leads, but I was just showing that as an example of, hey, I'm just bouncing back and forth between all the shapes. And again, I just visually see them in C major. And so now with practice, you have to be able to pick a key, understand what all the modal shapes are, and then put them on your fretboard. So a quick example is A major is A Ionian, B Dorian, C sharp Phrygian, D Lydian, E Mixolydian, F sharp Aeolian, G sharp Locrian, and then back to A Ionian again. And like that calculation has to be as fast as possible for when you're jamming or when you're sitting with a band, etc., etc. Or if you're writing music, you know what I mean? So all in all, everybody, please just understand, modal shapes, they're just scales. They're altered major scales, and all a mode is just a bigger picture of a major scale, and you're just starting in the middle somewhere. And that is literally it. That's all modes are, man. That's literally all modes are in a very basic, kind of introductory level. Okay, so I hope you got something out of this video. And I just have to say, all my patrons, you guys have been holding it down. I tabbed all this out for you all, and it's available on my patrons. All my higher tier patrons get this. The tabs patrons, the once a month lessons and the once a week lessons. You guys get this tab for free. I appreciate you guys so much, and I love you guys for supporting the channel. All right, so everybody, I hope you got something out of this. If you're brand new to the channel, you want to consider hitting that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. I'm out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay metal, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.